Hi, today we're going to talk about adding a site to a Voronoi diagram. So, in order to add a site to a Voronoi diagram, the first step you do is you find the cell containing the new point. Let's say we're going to call the new point X. Once you do that, you're going to draw the perpendicular bisector between that new point and the site that was already there. Once you draw that, you're going to mark the new vertex. Remember, the definition of a vertex or vertice is where the bisectors touch. So as soon as you draw that bisector through the new point and the existing point in that cell, you can stop drawing it once you touch another bisector because that's like you hitting another fence. Okay. Step two is that you're going to repeat the same thing for all of the other sites that are around that new site. And then once you do that, you will erase any old edges that now fall inside of the new cell. Okay, so let's look at example number one. It says redraw this Voronoi diagram with an additional site at 0, 1. So what I can do here is I see that these yellow lines here are already my perpendicular bisectors of the original 4 points. However, I'm adding point N. So as you can see, when I put point N in, it's in the same area as K, so I need to separate those. So what I have to do is I have to find the bisector. So I'm going to look at KN, and I know that my slope is 1/2. So that means if I was going up 1 and over 2, that means to get to the midpoint, I would have to go up 1/2 and over 1. So my midpoint is here. So now that I know I have my midpoint, all I need to have is my slope of my perpendicular line. So if my original slope was 1 over 2, the perpendicular slope would be 2. So that means if I go up 2 over 1. Okay, so once I do that, I can then draw this line. And remember, once you draw that line, you touch a bisector, you can stop drawing. So as you can see, I stopped drawing there. All right. So now, excuse me, and let me make sure I correct that. Excuse me. My slope should be a -2. So that means I go down 2 and right 1, up 2, left 1. Okay. Now I can tell that's perpendicular. All right. So I got that perpendicular bisector drawn. Then the next thing I need to do is I need to draw the bisector between N and L. So between N and L, I can tell that I went down 5 and I went over 2. So that means I need to go down 2.5 and go over 1. So I know the perpendicular slope needs to be a positive 2 over 5, and it needs to go through the midpoint. So I go up 2 over 5. Okay. So now I'm going to draw this bisector. But remember, you don't have, once you touch the other vertex, you can stop. So I can draw that one right there. I don't need the other points because I've already drawn that. All right. And now we need to look at, we separated K and N, L and N. Now we need to look at N and M. So M and N. So the slope between M and N is going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So going up 5/4, which means that my perpendicular slope is going to be -4/5. So what I have to do is I need to find my midpoint first between M and N. So I need to go up 2.5 and over 2. Okay, then my perpendicular slope says I need to go down 4/5. Okay, so now I draw my bisector, but remember I only need to draw it right there. And then last but not least, I need to draw the bisector between J and N, and that's going to put me at the bisector. It's going to put me at the midpoint, excuse me, of, and we're going between J and N. So my slope is -1/4. My perpendicular slope, of course, is going to be a +4. So if I want to go to the midpoint, I have to go down 1/2/2. So here, that's the midpoint. And then I need to go up 4/1. So as you can see here, I land on that line. And now I can connect. All right. All right. So as we can see here, this is the new Voronoi diagram. And what I am going to do is I'm going to make my markings or my lines bigger, and I'm going to erase what I don't need anymore. So I'm going to erase these little points here. Right? And then I'm going to connect and grab everything in red that should be there. Remember the yellow is old. That was the old sections. All right. So that's the new Voronoi diagram. Remember, if you need to, you can go in and erase those bisectors back out. Or as you can see here, I'm just coloring over it so you can get a gist of how it looks without the lines, so the lines won't make you confused. I just deleted and erased all this stuff inside so that you will see how that open area will be. So that is my new Voronoi diagram. Okay, so you can white it out like that, or if you want to, you can just put it in a different color like I did. It does not matter. Just make sure you understand that the part that is the red piece is the new edges. All right. So now let's look at example 2. It says this is a map of 4 IB high schools in Charlotte, North Carolina. A new high school. It will be built at 6, -2. Redraw the Voronoi diagram to include the new school. So we have to go to 6, -2. So 6, -2 is here. I'm going to just call this N for new school. All right. So the first thing I see is that I see N and S are in the same one. So I know that this is a vertical line, so I need a horizontal line. So that's my line there. That one was easy to draw. Vertical and horizontal perpendicular bisectors are easy to draw. So now we have to look at R and N, because R and N, this bisector here does not bisect R and N. So to get from R to N, we went down 6 and over 4, which means to go halfway, you'll be going down 3 and over 2. All right? So now that is that point. So now if we look at Rn, the slope is -6 over 4, but the perpendicular slope is a +4 over 6, or 2/3. So it means I can go up 2 over 3, down to left 3. So now I'll draw that line. Erase those points, because the only point I want to see is the site. So now that I have Rn, now I need to find the bisector between T and N. T and N. So to get from T to N is straight across, went 8, so you have to go with 4. All right. So here is where all right. So now, as you can see, and once again, if I wanted to, I could go in and erase these yellow lines so you can see. And I know that this Voronoi bisector, these bisectors here will stay. All right. So now that is my new Voronoi diagram to keep all of these separated. And remember that you can erase the original ones, or like I did, I bolded everything in red for the edges that should have been there. So if you wanted to, you can do like I do, use a highlighter to highlight the parts that you want to keep. All right, so if you have any questions, please ask your teacher, and have a great day.